Did the United States just quietly okay Taiwanese independence? If they didn't okay it, did they just take the first steps to doing so? We're going to get into a story here out of Zero Hedge. China furious after State Department changes line on Taiwan independence. China is furious after a State Department fact sheet on Taiwan has been updated. The new updated version of the dropped a line which previously stated, "We do not support Taiwan independence." The State Department downplayed the routine update to its online fact sheet on American relations with Taiwan. The change happened last week and has now triggered a strong rebuke from Beijing, which fears Washington is changing its official long-running policy of not officially endorsing efforts toward Taiwanese political independence and sovereignty. The Chinese Foreign Ministry called on the Trump administration to immediately correct its mistakes over the removal of the line. The statement from Beijing warned of further serious damage to U.S.-China relations amid return of Trump's America First policy. The U.S. Department's revision on the list of facts regarding U.S. Taiwan relations represents a serious regression in its stance on Taiwan, and sends a seriously erroneous message to the separatist forces advocating for Taiwanese independence, Ministry spokesman Gao Zhikong said in a briefing. It is further evidence that the U.S. stubbornly adhering to the erroneous policy of using Taiwan to contain West Taiwan. We urge the U.S. to immediately correct its mistakes, Gao added, and emphasized Trump must handle the Taiwan issue with utmost caution. So, they're taking that quite seriously. So what is the U.S. Taiwanese Relation Act that they're referring to? I looked it up. This is on state.gov, U.S. Taiwan Relations Act. We will go to the appropriate sentence. The United States' approach to Taiwan has remained consistent across decades and administrations. The United States has a long-standing One China policy, which is guided by the Taiwan Relations Act, the 3 joint communiques, and the 6 assurances. We continue to have an abiding interest in peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. We oppose any unilateral changes to the status quo from either side. We expect cross-strait differences to be resolved by peaceful means, free from coercion and a matter acceptable to the people of both sides of the strait. So what are the 6 assurances and the 3 communiques? The 3 communiques is first, the first communique is in 1972 between Richard Nixon and their premier. And it does talk about Taiwan specifically, especially both sides agreed to respect each other's natural sovereignty and territorial integrity. The United States formally acknowledged that all Chinese on either side of the Taiwan Strait maintain there is one China and that Taiwan is part of China, and that the United States government does not challenge that position, and that it reaffirms its interest in peaceful settlement of the Taiwan question by the Chinese themselves. That's the first. The second communique. This is from 1979 during the Carter administration, and this is the most relevant part to the Chinese. In so doing, the United States recognized that the government of the People's Republic of China was the sole legal government of China, and acknowledged that the PRC's position that Taiwan is part of China. In addition, the United States government declared that it would end formal political relations with the Republic of China, Taiwan, while preserving economic and cultural ties. Both sides reaffirmed their wish to reduce the risk of international conflict as well as avoidance of hegemony of any nation in the Asia-Pacific region. We can see China's influence growing, and we can see a distinctive threat to Taiwan. They are routinely flying aircraft into economic zones and into, frankly, danger. There's danger of literally fights happening. The third communique, also known as the August 17th communique, reaffirms the desire of both sides to further strengthen economic, cultural, educational, scientific, and technological ties. Both sides also reaffirm that statements made about Taiwan issue in the previous communique. Although no definitive conclusions were reached on the issue of arms sales to Taiwan, the United States declared its intent to continue selling arms to Taiwan and gradually change its levels of arms sales consistent with PRC's militarization of the Taiwan Strait. Those are the 3 communiques. What are the 6 assurances? These are the 6 assurances. Eagleburger to President Chiang. This is in July 1982. We have not agreed to set a date certain for ending Taiwan's arms sales. We still sell them arms today. We have not agreed to prior consultation on arms sales. We don't consult with China to this day. We have not agreed to any mediation role for the U.S. We deal with them straight up to this day. We have not agreed to revise the Taiwan Relations Act. We just took out a sentence from it. We have not agreed to take any position regarding the sovereignty over Taiwan. We just heard the 1979 second communique from the Carter administration acknowledging the legal right of the Chinese government as the sole legal. Let's go back to it. Let's go right back to it. I don't want to paraphrase it. In doing so, the United States recognized that the government of the People's Republic of China was the sole legal government of China. It acknowledged that the People's Republic of China's position that Taiwan is a part of China. In addition, the United States government declared that it would end formal relations with the Republic of China, Taiwan, while preserving economic and cultural ties. So we can already see that there's hedging on the Reagan administration's part. So, these are the 6 assurances, the last one being the PRC has no time urged us to put pressure on Taiwan to negotiate with the PRC. However, we can assure you that we will never do so. So, the removal of that one line that the Chinese are definitely upset about. We do not support Taiwanese independence. Well, you currently have China bullying Taiwan, threatening them with invasion, military exercises, Coast Guard encounters with Taiwan, the Philippines, Japanese Coast Guard forces. You have Chinese aircraft routinely entering Taiwanese airspace. Fleets of Chinese aircraft basically surrounding Taiwan. You've had recent military exercises with China's new aircraft carrier on the east side of Taiwan to prove that they can do it. So where does that leave the United States? In the Taiwan Relations Act, there is this line. Directs the President to inform the Congress promptly of threats to the security or the social or economic system of the people of Taiwan, and any danger to the United States interest arising from such threats. Specifies that the President and the Congress shall determine the appropriate action in response to any such danger. Could the response to that action be diplomatic relations with Taiwan? The normalization with relations with Taiwan? I'm not speaking today. I'm speaking 2 years from now, 3 years from now. We've already seen who was then Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, go to Taiwan, and China absolutely flipped a lid. The next day, they had essentially boycotted all Taiwanese ports. What do you think the reaction would be from relationship normalization? And could you see this president doing it? I certainly could. I could see this president normalizing relations by simply flying Air Force One into Taipei and saying, relations are now normalized. And then just dealing with the repercussions. I would have a plan put together myself before I did that. the moment I'd land, I would also probably have an entire Marine Expeditionary Force landing on the east coast of Taiwan, excuse me, to take up permanent station at one of their air bases there. I would also have to have one or two anti-ballistic missile capable destroyers be permanently stationed there, and I would announce that. That's the only way you could do it, because if you just go in there and you leave it empty when you leave, they're coming. They're coming. Because they won't let that stand. They're becoming more powerful and they want to flex their muscle. So if this is the first step towards the normalization of relations with Taiwan, and I actually do kind of think this is the kind of thing you do diplomatically, is you start removing wording one by one. Eventually, what they'll do is they'll talk about the second communique, which we spoke of previously, and what they will do is they will just remove the part that says Taiwan is part of China. This is what they'll do. They'll just remove that. That might be the next step. So China, furious after State Department changes a line on Taiwan independence. This is how diplomacy happens, one step at a time. Do I think inevitably we will have normalized relations with Taiwan? Very likely. Will China be furious? Very likely. Depending how it's handled. Could it be war? Very possible. But if it's handled correctly and with strength and friendship, you can have both. It could be handled fine. But I wanted to bring this article to you, China furious after State Department changed line on Taiwan independence, and I wanted to see what you guys thought about it and just bring it to your attention. I want to thank you very much for coming in here, listening to me talk about it and give my opinion. If you like what you heard, I do hope that you'll give me a sub and hit the like button, and maybe share it with your friends. Check out some of the other videos I have on here. I cover the Taiwan issue, the China issue. I cover it quite a bit. This is the kind of thing I like to do, and I'm having a blast doing it. And I really am thankful for you coming in here, and I'm grateful for everyone listening. You have a great day.